Acts 27 talks about a very difficult journey that Paul and his friends and the people that were traveling with him faced in the midst of the storm, in the middle of the ocean. They were basically impacted and dramatically safe in the midst of so much worry, confusion, anxiety. There is one person that remains calm. There is one person who decides to trust God in the middle of a storm. And we need that kind of people. We need to be that kind of people, actually, to trust God in the middle of the storm. And when you read, for instance, chapter 27, verse 19, Paul talked to the crew of the boat and says this: on the third day, they threw the ship's tackle overboard with their own hands. When neither sun nor star appeared for many days and the storm continued raging, we finally gave up all hope of being saved. You see, this was a really, really difficult time. It seems to me like, it sounds like the coronavirus, COVID-19 times, where we don't know what's going to happen. There's no that light at the end of the tunnel. We don't see it yet. There's so much lost and people dying and people getting sick. And so we feel like we are in the middle of the ocean, with a raging storm. And in this very moment, we really need that kind of solid presence in the middle of the storm. And Paul says to them, something that is very important, and I really like when when the writer says we finally gave up all hope of being saved. We sometimes feel that way too. The next text says, verse 21 says, after they had gone a long time without food, Paul stood up before them and said, "Men, you should have taken my advice not to sail from Crete. Then you will have spared yourself this damage and loss. But now I urge you to keep up your courage, because no one of you will be lost. Only the ship will be destroyed. Last night the angel of God, to whom I belong and to whom I serve, stood beside me and said, 'Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand trial before Caesar, and God has graciously given you the lives of those who sail with you. So keep up your courage, man, for I have faith in God that it will happen just as he told me. Nevertheless, we must run aground on some island.'" And so nevertheless, it's gonna be lost, and the ship is gonna be destroyed. They're not gonna be able to make it in the way that they thought that they will, but they're gonna be safe. And being alive and being spared in life crisis is an incredible privilege. It's a blessing that we don't understand really. But what we need to understand is, and if we are alive, if we are given the opportunity to remain safe and alive, then this is our opportunity to be a solid presence in the middle of the storm, in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the crisis, in the midst of the uncertainty. We need to find a way to be that solid voice, that solid presence, pointing people back to the source, to the main captain, to the captain of the captains, who can find a way in the midst of the storm. So Paul did that. Paul encouraged the people to take courage, to keep up courage. And courage is very important during these times of crisis. Not that we are not afraid. We are afraid. We are worried. We are concerned. But we also are determined to trust God in the middle of the storm, in the midst of the storm. So today, my brother and my sister, if you are facing a difficult trial, if you are going through a difficult time, a time where we don't even see the stars and the sun, and you're feeling that you're giving up, do not give up yet. Do not give up yet. There is always hope. There is always a way to come back, to remain and move forward. Like Paul says, after. There is always an after. Don't worry, there is always an after. God is with you. God is with your family. God is with your friends. God is with you. So take courage. Keep up the courage, and move forward trusting that God is the Lord of the storm. God is the Lord of anything that we're going through. Take courage, keep up the courage, and move forward. May the Lord bless you. This is Dr. Alfredo Delgado speaking to you in Southern California. Amen.